are certified.
Certified.
All right, Mrs. Stiff, are you certified?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Carson,
Yes.
Ms. Kimbrough?
Yes.
Dr. Ivietti? Mr. Townsend?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Tackett? Dr. Corbett? Okay, thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Prince County School Board meeting. Let's start by standing in the pledge of allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we're going on to number 7, additions and approval to agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in second? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're on recognitions and awards introductions. First recognition is going to be a recognition of school board members. It's important for the school board to recognize excellence in leadership and achievement for all employees. It's equally important to recognize accomplishments of individual school board members for participation in VSBA meetings or other academy sessions and VSBA governance and service activities. Today I have some certificates for board members who have been participating. Susan Kimbrough. Dr. Corbett. Ms. Tiff, I have one for you. I'll get it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And one for me, thank you. And one for Ms. Alfreda Sears. Thank you for all you do, you've done. And we're gonna miss you terribly.
I miss you guys too.
Thank you so much for all of your work. Okay. And I also want to take this time to introduce to some our acting superintendent, Dr. Joseph Cox, comes from Colonial Heights, Virginia. Well, he's not acting from Colonial Heights, Virginia, but that's where his home is. And I'm going to give him a few minutes to tell the audience and the people who are watching a little bit about himself.
Well, first of all, I really want to thank the school board for giving me this opportunity. I have been in Prince Edward now for 3 days, and I've enjoyed each of my 3 days, and certainly look forward to working with all of you going forward. Just a little bit about me. I was a superintendent in Colonial Heights from 2001 to 2019, and when I retired, and you always think when you're going to retire that that's what you're going to do. But actually, this is the 4th time that I've been an acting superintendent. So I was an acting superintendent in Nelson County for 6 months in 2022. I actually came back to Colonial Heights as an acting superintendent for 4 months in 2023. And actually, just before I came here, I finished in Prince George. I served for 4 months there. And I would say to teachers, staff, community administrators, parents, I really do look forward to working with you. One of the things that I always like to talk about is the importance of listening. And I think as I have worked with the board, I think that's something that we're very interested in doing. And I think one of the things I would say to really be on the lookout for as the board works with the Virginia School Boards Association is for the survey that they will put out pretty soon. That is such an important survey because it's really a nice opportunity for the school board to listen to what stakeholders have to say about what they want in a new superintendent. So I know there'll be announcements about that. And when that comes out, I would just ask that you really take a good look at that And please get that in, because I think that's a very good guiding document for what the board will want to do in terms of hiring a new superintendent. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It's very nice to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yes, we are.
And we'll do everything to make this a smooth transition. And you know, we talk a lot. If there's anything that I can do, or that the board can do, please let us know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We are looking forward to this. Okay. We're moving on to number 9, public participation sign-in sheet. Here it is. You need to sign it? I got it, no one signed up. Okay. I can say a little speech. All right, public no one signed up for public participation today. We're going to 10, the consent agenda. Any questions, comments about that? From board members? All right, then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then number 11, action items. Ms. Jones?
Good evening, school board members, Mrs. Carson, Dr. Cox, and all members. This evening I come before you asking for additional appropriations to be submitted before the Board of Supervisors in the amount of $160,000, $460.27. If you look on your agenda, you can see what it actually entails. It's several different grants, additional appropriations to this year, and carryovers from last year.
All right, any questions for Ms. Jones? Dr. Cole?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve of the additional appropriations of the $160,460.27 for the Buckwood.
All right, have a motion?
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're going to B. That's you too, Ms. Jones?
Yes, again, I come before you seeking approval of the draft copy of our budget development calendar. This is done every year about this time.
Comes sooner every year.
And we do need to get with the county because we do compare schedules just to make sure we're all on the same page.
And if it changes, you'll let us know.
Yes, yes.
I move we approve the draft budget development calendar for the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, John. We're at C, request to donate. Mr. Good.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Ms. Carson, Dr. Cox, and school board members. You should have in your information a letter from Mr. Trey Powell and the Mahern Fire Department requesting that we donate a bus to them, and they want to use it for training purposes, practicing on if we have an accident, how to remove kids from a bus. I told them we'd be glad to give a bus. We hope we never have to use that type of skill as far as a school mission is concerned. And we do have a bus, but we have several buses that, you know, they're just sitting there and going away. So I told them to write a letter to the board, and if the board approves it, and we can make it happen.
Board members see the letter in the board docs?
And these buses are irreparable.
Well, actually, we had an inspection in May, and one of the ones failed the inspection. So that's the one we want to let them cut up, chop up, whatever they're going to do with it. So, yes.
Any other questions for Mr. Good? Need a motion to approve? So moved. All right, then we get to, let's put my hair in volunteer fire, unless you have the bus that's not very useful.
Second.
The nice bus.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and I will let Mr. Powell hold tomorrow.
All right, thank you. We're at alphabet B, recommendations for school construction, Mosley.
Also have an update for the project. I know there are two separate board items. You want to do this at the same time, or?
Do it at the same time?
Okay. Great to be back in front of you again. Jen Kotz is here too. Y'all seen her before. Again, our project manager who's been involved so much. So Ms. Carson, Dr. Cox, board, we appreciate the opportunity to provide an update and then to consolidate the agenda items because they're really one and the same at this point. So just a brief project update and then just an update of the bids received last week and then we'll take questions. And I believe there's been a resolution prepared by Sands Anderson before you to approve the construction contract. So September progress, mobile classroom complex, all the mobile classrooms are here. They've been delivered, they've been leveled and adjusted, they're being connected to utilities right now. It's kind of the last bit of work to be done. Canopies and sidewalks are being installed right now. The entire project team continues to have coordination meetings with the classroom complex. And then Jen was with the building inspector today working through kind of the final inspection items. So trying to get final inspection by the end of this week due to the building inspector's schedule. It's either this week or the week of the 21st. So we're working with Mr. Good and everybody's kind of working toward a move-in date either next week or the week after. In terms of the addition and renovation project, we completed the final hazmat testing in September and had that information included in the bid documents. This is all looking retrospectively. We had the pre-bid meeting here on the 16th with prospective bidders. Mr. Good and Mr. Wilkerson facilitated campus tours of any bidders who wanted to review existing conditions before they put their bids together. We were answering bidders' questions and issuing addendum. I think we had 5 addendum during the course of the project just to get everybody up to speed on any changes in the documents before bids were received. We're finalizing our team for construction testing, and most likely will be the same firm that did the geotechnical report and geotechnical investigation, ECS. So we're working with them to get them on board. We opened bids on the 1st, last Tuesday, had 3 bidders, English, Jameson, Lewis, and Cambridge. English Construction was the apparent low bidder at just a little over $38 million. We reviewed those bids that day with Mr. Stanley's here from the county and also county financing experts at Davenport. I believe the next day, or later that week, we had a meeting with Mr. Good and also Sands Anderson to get the construction contract process started. So attorneys for school system and English construction are meeting to finalize all that language as we speak. And then if the board awards the contract tonight, we expect a notice to proceed to be issued on October 19th to get everything started. So in terms of next steps for the mobile classroom project, again, expect substantial completion sometime this Friday or a little after once the building inspections departments completed their review, and then move in either beginning next week or the week after. And that's all being coordinated with Mr. Good and Ms. Vance and teachers here. Again, received bids on the first. I think there's, again, a resolution that'll be in front of you all tonight for award, notice to proceed on the 19th. And then we'll begin construction later this month. And we've already spoken with English. I think they have some ideas about how to maybe accelerate and kind of rethink phasing a little bit. I think we've talked about that along the way, that once you get a contract on board, they might have some additional thoughts about how they might tackle the project, and we've already had these conversations with English, so we're looking forward to putting that, to getting those things in place as well. So that's really the update. Very simple, lots of progress. Thrilled with the contractors that bid on the project. We know English very well. They're local out of Lynchburg. I believe they've got team members with students that are in the system, so they're looking forward to working on the project. Very committed. They did a lot of due diligence in the pre-bid phase. A lot of questions sent to Jen and our team, and they're ready to get started. So I guess beyond that, I think we're in good shape. So then I think that they were, again, I think Ms. Locker McKay's put together a resolution for the school board to consider awarding the contract to English Construction in that amount. I think Mr. Stanley's here. He can answer any questions about financing if we need to, but everything seems to be in place with financing. I think that's all in place. The numbers work with the budget and what the supervisors are comfortable with. So kind of all systems go at this point.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know next week is fall break, which was the initial thought we would be moving into the mobile units during that 3-day period.
Yes.
In the event it has to go to the next week, how will that work?
I did speak to Ms. Vance today about
Okay.
that possibility. Because the building official was like, I'm gonna be out. I'm like, that's okay. So I think the 21st, he has off. So the 22nd would be his first availability to come in. But she was actually pleased to have her fall break. So
Okay, so
she was like, oh.
I guess my question
was
is, the
comfortable with
elementary
that.
school has a plan for getting them.
Yes, they were comfortable with that.
Okay, okay.
And the contractor, Kimbridge, is, I think they were on board willing to help facilitate with the move as well. So as long as they're on site, they've committed to assisting the school system with the move
The
as well.
physical,
So,
getting
physical
everything
move.
out
Yes,
there.
yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Vance is great. She has all her ducks lined up. She's like, I know where everything is. We just have to go
Okay.
grab them and move them.
Good.
Mr. Stanley, did you want to join in?
Just, the project, at first blush, came in about $5 million higher than we had estimated last year. The Board of Supervisors, a month ago, when we set the parameters for the VPSA, Virginia Public School Authority borrowing, we bumped it about $5 million, $6 million to give us some cushion after Jimmy Sanderson, our financial advisor, had talked with Mosley staff. This project's being completed with 3 different funding mechanisms. One was a $8,655,710 state construction grant. Then we had a $25 million literary loan at 3%. And then we are coming back and filling the back end with the VPSA bond. Now, our planning estimates last year, we were using 4.5% as our estimated interest rate. So getting 3% for $25 million of it was fantastic. Not paying any interest on the $8.6 million grant was fantastic. And hopefully today, VPSA was selling bonds. The estimate yesterday was about 3.9%. So again, below that 4.5%. Our total estimated debt service over the life of the project is going to be $61,358,000. That is $2 million lower, even though the project was at 43.5 and not 49 last year. We were going to pay 63 million because we were paying at a higher interest rate. So, at the end of the day, our planning model shows instead of maybe 6.78 up to 6.78 cents, we're at 7.29. The overall potential impact is a little bit greater. We will be paying less in total debt service. So it was within the window that the board had approved. we're excited that we can move forward with the project. If we were at the second or third bids, we would not be here this evening. Pure and simple. So, we wouldn't have had enough money unless, we'd have to figure out some other things. We do have some flexibility. We've spent between $2 and $3 million on architectural fees, placement of those portable cottages, I like the word, Mr. Learning cottages.
Learning pods.
So we, county, using your set-aside capital improvement funding, have been paying those bills for the last year. In theory, we get reimbursed through the sale of the bonds for those expenses. So we knew we had a little bit of cushion there, plus we have about $3 million in contingency built into the budget. Knock on wood, we hope we don't run into unforeseen things, but I can tell you, anytime you're tearing buildings down and digging into the dirt, you don't know what's underneath the ground. So, you know, we've got funds there to cover those things. So again, I think, you know, at the end of the day, between the upfront money we're using, the contingency, we probably could have covered that $5. We still would have made it work, but it's nice to fit the window that the board had approved last month.
Yes, and I've had to hunt for more money.
With that, I gave a copy of the updated financials to Dr. Cox, and certainly he can share those, I guess, electronically as well, Joe. Happy to answer any other questions if you have any.
Well, I think it's a very happy day today that after all these years, we are gonna be hopefully voting to approve the bid and that we will actually, before the end of the month, is that what you're telling us? That they'll actually be on site and?
The notice to proceed is October 19th, and they'll mobilize right after that.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
May I ask specifically where the construction is gonna start, about when it's gonna start? Do you have any, do we have that on the calendar already, and where these?
So, they will be providing a first blush schedule within 21 days with the notice to proceed.
Okay, where to start, where?
So where to start. So, we'll start with tearing down buildings E and F, that's the first phase. To build the new construction that'll bridge what will be the two remaining parts of the building that essentially connect the building and make it an internally circulated campus as opposed to being, the campus South School that it is now. That'll be the start. The first thing we'll start looking at is logistics and where deliveries can come from, where the construction tower is going to be set. They've got some ideas on that. That's really for them to come to us and present. We'll be involved in their construction. We're your advocate and your agent in the field. So we're there to protect the interests of Prince Edward County Public Schools and the citizens. So we'll be facilitating all the project meetings. We'll be on site. We've got construction administrative professionals, both from architecture and engineering, so we'll be reviewing everything in the field as it comes up. So we'll be looking after your interests in the field. But there's some things that the contractor will be required to do in terms of schedule and putting together temporary power and temporary utilities and placing their construction trailer and their kind of logistics. So we'll be really working through that the first month. So there may not be a lot of activity the first month other than any sort of temporary access they might need to the site for construction deliveries and vehicles. Again, where the construction trailer might be located and those kind of logistics. There'll be abatement that'll be done in those first two buildings, so that'll happen before you start to actually see buildings being torn down. So buildings E and F, I would imagine, would probably start being dropped by the end of the year, if not before. So it'll be kind of the first tangible thing you all in the community can see. Maybe there'll be some sort of celebration, when those things are knocked down. That'll be a good sign that progress will start to be made. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, I looked at the weather forecasts and the biggest rain will come on Wednesday the 23rd. But my general question is, how affected is the progress going to be by snow or rain?
So the construction contract will have provisions for built-in weather days. So the contractor, if they feel like weather has impacted their construction schedule, the burden is on them to demonstrate how, through the critical path of the project, how did weather impact their critical path. And the construction schedule that they provide will provide that critical path. So whether that's through demolition or delivery of steel or site utilities or whatever they deem the critical path to be. So the burden is on them to demonstrate how weather is impacted, and there are certain, based on the time of the month, using historical weather data through the National Weather Service, and there's some built-in weather days that they have to provide in their schedule, and they can only ask for additional time beyond those demonstrated and documented weather days. So it's a little nuanced, but there are provisions in the contract that the school board's attorney has reviewed and included in the construction contract that will kind of govern that kind of weather pattern and weather delays.
I just had one thing.
Yes, sir.
I've had a great opportunity to work with y'all in the past.
Absolutely, we know you.
So it's
Yeah.
great to see y'all.
Yeah, good to see you.
And one of the things we had done in the past as we had worked with Mosley is to help everybody keep their eye on the prize, in other words, what's coming.
Yep.
It's very exciting. And I know, one of the things that y'all had done for us in the past was some kind of a rendering, like a sign or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
That we put close so when people drive by, they can see
Yes, sir.
it, because I think it keeps everybody focused on, oh, this is what's coming, and it's gonna be fantastic. So I was hoping maybe that could be a part of it.
That's absolutely, yeah. There's,
Mr. Good and I actually had talked about that earlier today, so,
there'll be construction signage along Zion Hill that will have rendering that's built into the bid documents, so that'll be able to acknowledge who all is involved from top to bottom, and also have an image of what the building will look like. Again, to generate that interest, you can't come down Zion Hill without being excited about what's coming.
well, thank you, that's always
Yeah,
a nice
absolutely.
touch, appreciate that.
Yep. And welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
Doug, it's for Doug. Doug already
Yes.
sat down, sorry. But, the debt service, is this like a 30-year in terms of like
So I think we're looking at 25 years.
25, okay.
Structure. You pretty much 20 to 30 is your typical window. But I think the, yeah, 25.
Gotcha. And then second question was, if political winds shift and 1% sales tax or whatever comes back into play, would it be, that could still be a benefit to us in the future if
Yeah,
that was
so
that?
our modeling shows that if you, let's say, really in the next 3 or 4 years, if we get the 1% sales tax, that we would not have to raise taxes at all to be able to affect the project. So, that's, and part of that was I think the Board of Supervisors raising taxes ahead of time. And I certainly, as we, build the budget for next year, if you can do it ahead of time, you end up raising a couple pennies rather than having this 5 or 6 cent jump. That would be the goal. I think, and we also clearly know, these aren't all the needs of the school system. And at some point down the road, we're gonna have to do some work on our other facilities. So I think it's, part of this is, let's get this behind us and start the planning for what's to come.
Appreciate it.
Questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did we get the corrections on the,
The resolution, I
Resolution.
was mistaken, she was supposed to correct it and send it back to us.
I think she did, but I haven't seen it. I think, I'll check. Give us just a minute. I think I saw that email. I don't know if she sent it back or not.
I, while he's looking, step up a 5-minute break and then come back. Sure. Okay? 5-minute break.
We need a motion for that? Okay, which?
Here's the motion. That the Prince Edward County School Board approve entry into an A101-2017 standard form of agreement between owner and contractor English Construction Company for the construction services to be performed in the renovation of Prince Edward County Elementary School. Further, that once the agreement has been approved as to the form by the board's legal counsel, the board authorizes its chair, Lucy B. Carson, to execute the agreement on behalf of the Prince Edward County School Board. There's a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Great day.
Aye. Did it? And then we have to sign, oh, the clerk signs this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Exciting
Thank you,
night.
guys.
It's an exciting day.
Apologize for the 5-minute little break there. All right, we're going on to non-action items. Mr. Good? Is he gone?
No, he's here.
ABM?
Madam Chair, Ms. Carson, Dr. Cox. ABM is, and school board members, ABM is the custodial service provider for us. And it's just time to talk about whether we're gonna continue with them for the coming year. You don't have to decide tonight. If you want someone from ABM to come to the next board meeting just to talk to you about what their plans are in the future, we can have that arranged as well. But this is the time we just talk about ABM and their custodial services. Yes, ma'am.
So, do we have any idea, have they given us a number for next year yet?
No, ma'am.
No, okay.
And we talked about it, because we gave them like 2 increases like back to back. So they've been very quiet this year, so.
Okay. What's your feeling on the quality of the work that they are doing?
I think they're doing a good job. I've not heard any complaints. And if something does come up, they're quick to jump on it and correct it, so. If you walk through our buildings, you see they're
I
clean.
agree. That they are.
Thank you,
Ms.
Mr.
Carter, you have a question?
Yeah.
And again, if you want them to come, representative to come and speak to y'all at next month's meeting. I
Would
can
they have
also-
the numbers then?
I'm not gonna ask for any numbers, Ms. Kimbrough.
We're just gonna rely on the numbers? Okay.
But if you want me to, I can.
No, I just assumed numbers were gonna come up.
But I'll tell you, I said, you're talking about an increase.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to start talking about that in August, before we start the budget process.
Yes.
You can't wait until we get to the budget process and all really start about it, increase, so. Stop hearing anything from them, so.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see. No news is good news.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to number information items. Mostly we had their update and Ms. Perry.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school board, and Dr. Cox. Excuse me. I'm here tonight to present an update for you all on the division literacy plan. So I'm going to do an update of kind of where we are and then where we will be moving, because there will be a revision in December due to state requirements. So I just kind of want to let you know, remind you where we are, because we've been doing this process for a while, and then let you know where we're going to be moving to. So the updates for tonight, we're just going to talk about the literacy plan that you all adopted in 2024 in June, and then where we're moving this year, and then the process in implementing the Virginia Literacy Act. We're going to talk about the implementation of our high-quality instructional materials, how that's going, the VLA required professional development from UVA, and then the VALS and student reading plan. So VALS is our new PALS. VALS is PALS, and VALS is Virginia Language and Literacy Screening System. That's it, system. but VALS works. And then we're gonna talk about preparing for the requirements moving into next year. So in May 2024, our current literacy plan was adopted by this board, and in September, VDOE reviewed it and approved it. So we were very pleased that it was approved with no revisions needed. They gave a few suggestions that we're going to look at to when we resubmit in December. And actually, they reached out recently and stated that one part of our plan they were quite pleased with and would like to use in their training webinars. So I was pretty excited about that. So the team worked very hard on the plan. So the fact that they want to use that to show other divisions how to complete their plan in December, that's a compliment. The Virginia Literacy Partnership, that's UVA. When we say VLP, we're talking about the Virginia Literacy Partnership with UVA. That's who reached out to highlight part of our plan. September 2024, the plan was placed on the division website. So if you all want to look for it, you look under the useful links, and then we created a literacy hub. We're going to continue building through that hub, but you can get to it that page. You can also go to the curriculum page. It's in both places. This year, throughout the school year, we're going to revise the plan to incorporate the VDOE literacy plan expectations, and I'm going to explain specifically what they want this year. And then during the 2025-28 school year, we will implement the updated plan. So right now, we're doing the implementation of the high-quality instructional materials and supplemental materials for K-5. We're doing required professional development for K-8 teachers. And then we have changed PALS into VALS screening. We're actually just about finished with kindergarten. I think they finished kindergarten this week. And we're beginning the student reading plan. So we are really living in this area right now with our plan. What was required for us for this year was the core reading curriculum. So we have the continued implementation of Benchmark Advance, and that's the reading program we have for kindergarten through 4th grade. And then Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, which we call HMH, into reading for grade 5. That's our core literacy curriculum for grade 5. We happen to have that program as well for 6th through 8th. So any of the training that we're doing for 5th grade, we are doing as well for 6th through 8th, so that we can make sure we're continuing that process all the way through 8th grade. Supplemental on intervention programs, we're continuing to review the programs on the approved list. This is where we can make some changes in December, because the state did not send out all the approved supplemental materials, even for K-5. So there were some additions. So the team is going to re-meet and see if everything we have for supplemental intervention is working for our students' needs. We're going to finalize those programs that we're going to use, resubmit the plan, and that will be presented to you all, of course, prior to the submission in December. The VLA required professional development. So K-8 teachers, and this is all for K through 4. If they have a K-4 license, whether they're teaching math, science, or reading, they are all receiving this evidence-based literacy training. And they've all started this in our school system. So that we've uploaded the list. So right now, all of our teachers are in the UVA Developed Canvas course. And it's a self-paced course that we are meeting with them once a month to review, just to make sure they are clear on what's going on with the course. And teachers and reading specialists will receive a stipend when they do finish this requirement, because it does take a good amount of time outside of their regular work hours to do the work that's required for this. VALS and the student reading plans. PALS switched over to VALS. This is the first year we have used VALS. This is the first year anyone in the state has used it as a requirement. The revised screener aligns with the current evidence-based instruction. It includes a comprehensive and expanded coverage of skills. We are noticing that it does screen a lot more than PALS did. So we're going to notice that we're going to be providing services to a larger number of students, which hopefully will help us close some of the gaps. It accurately identifies students at risk of developing reading difficulties, and it will provide instructionally useful information for the teacher. And then measurement of growth over time across grade levels, because it is vertically aligned. It is required for all K-3 students in the fall, and then in the winter and spring, they will do K-2 and then only screen the grade 3 students who scored in the high-risk band. And that's the same way we did PALS. So we're not changing the students that we screen because this is who we screened previously when we screened with PALS. Teachers all completed a training module prior to administering this new assessment, so they were comfortable with administering it. And we will implement the student reading plans for any student who's identified in high risk for grades K through 3, and the elementary school is working through that process right now. What we're waiting for moving forward that's going to be new for us that the team still needs to meet and develop will be grades 6 through 8 list of approved supplemental and intervention materials. So for the middle school, the way the state is going to do it, instead of sending out high quality core materials for you to review, they want us to look at supplemental and intervention. So they're going to start with supplemental and intervention, and then at some point they're going to put out, they're going to call them textbooks for 6 through 12 with the new standards. But they want to start with supplemental and intervention materials. They're also going to move to a literacy screener for 4 through 8, which is going to be very new for middle school. And I think that's going to be a good addition. We've needed this for years. And then 4 through 8 student reading plans will begin. So what we're doing at the elementary school is going to slowly move to the middle, and what we felt was going to happen and why we included middle and high school in this process all along, so that they were prepared. So that leads us to this literacy playbook. And what this is while we were doing this work, we realized that we do a lot more than what the state was asking for, 4 pages, I think? And the team realized we did a lot more, and there's a lot more to literacy than what was there. So they felt that we really needed something that encompassed more of what we're looking for when it talks about literacy instruction for Prince Edward County. So that's what this playbook is. It is text heavy, and it's just really information. So if you really want to know the difference between a screener and a diagnostic and a benchmark, it's in there. If you want to know what resources we use, it's in there. There's links for parents to go to the high quality instructional material parent pages. So it's just a way for us to encompass everything that we're doing. This is a live document, meaning we're going to continue adding to this as we continue to build throughout the year, make changes. So this is something that the teachers will be working with throughout the year, and it's just something that really encompasses all of the work that we do for literacy here in Prince Edward. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You have one?
No, it's in there.
Wrong way.
All right. We're gonna move on to item C, academic discussion.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, school board members, and Dr. Cox. This afternoon, I'll be talking to you briefly about the conversations that have taken place between me and Dr. Shields. He is a OSQ representative that helps us out. I've been meeting with him. I've met with him twice recently. And what we have mainly discussed was attendance and chronic absenteeism. In our meetings, Dr. Shields and myself have been discussing the need to monitor attendance and to restructure a division level attendance committee. While the framework is still being considered, the idea is to have school-based representatives along with division personnel to meet on a monthly basis. In the meetings, data will be collected and shared that aims to bring awareness to absenteeism, trends, and suggested supports to mitigate the issue. Data will be routinely shared and collected in these meetings. The division committee will solely focus on attendance and chronic absenteeism, not truancy. Recently, actually this morning, I was able to attend a surrounding school district and learn how they track attendance at the division level. I found the meeting to be worthwhile, and I was able to get a better grasp of what some of our surrounding counties are doing to tackle this issue. Ms. Garrett went with me also. I believe this process will continue to develop over time and become more equipped as we implement the best practices. Some of the things that we saw in the surrounding county was building templates for better data collection in the SIS, like Power School. They use Infinite Campus in this particular district. Communicate and tracking of attendance through that template, and Google referral forms, like when they get to a certain level of attendance, what are we doing at that point, if they miss 3, 5, 7 days? And how are we able to track notes that we send home to the parents on the 3, 5, and 7 day absenteeism mark? The other things we talked about were assessment calendars, which he gave me some suggestions to tweak, and I'll be calling the STCs, the student testing coordinators, back to the table to look at the assessment calendar again. And next steps, as I said, Dr. Shields recommended that I did attend one of these surrounding counties, and we're scheduled to meet again tomorrow to basically debrief, and that's it.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ms.
Can
Kimberly?
you help me understand, what's the difference between truancy and chronic absenteeism? Just so everybody knows,
Truancy is when you get to 5 unexcused absences.
in a row,
In
a row.
And then
Okay.
chronic absenteeism when you get to basically the 10% mark where you've missed over 10%.
Okay, so a chronic absenteeism person might be absent 2 days this week, and next week 1 day, and then the next week 3 days, and they never hit the truancy level.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's a little bit every week, but they get to the 10%. That's chronic absenteeism.
Yes, and you can have excused absences versus, unexcused. So it's the
But
5 unexcused.
Excused doesn't matter, they're still chronically absent even if they are all excused, is that correct?
That's right, when you get to the 10%.
When you
Yes,
get to
ma'am.
10%, but truancy is, a child doesn't come to school for 5 days in a row, you don't hear from them, there's no excuse, it's just unexcused.
That's right.
Okay, I
It
just
doesn't
making
have
sure.
to be in a row, though.
It
Doesn't have to be in a
doesn't have to be in a row, no.
Oh,
It's just 5
5
unexcused.
unexcused absences.
Yes.
Oh, okay, well then
It's 5 total.
that does change
Total
it.
unexcused.
Okay,
5 total unexcused.
Yes.
oh, unexcused.
Dr. Ariey?
Yes, sir.
I have a follow-up question. Are these definitions local or state, or I don't believe they're universal.
They're state, and I'm not sure on a national level, but they are state. 5 unexcused absences is what gets you truant, and chronic absenteeism is basically 18 days, 10% throughout the school year. It can
So
be
you
excused
could be
or unexcused.
truant and not chronically absent. Cause
Yes.
you could have missed just
Yes,
5
ma'am, that's
days
right.
unexcused, that's all you missed, but you're still truant.
That's right.
Okay.
No, in Kentucky, it's 7 unexcused.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't know if it was
5.
national or not.
No, it's state to state, so,
These are arbitrary.
Lucy, I have a question.
Okay, Ms. Steph? Go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you. I'm looking at the participants for the, division absentee committee and also for the in-house, absentee committee. Where is a community element listed, or what are the plans for incorporating community members of SALT to participate, mainly because it's the community issue as well as the school issue, and we need all entities on board.
Okay, well, if you'd like me to take that into consideration, and we have some community members, then yes, we'll strive to do that. It's still in development, the framework is, you're restructuring it, so if that's something you guys want, and that you suggest, we can definitely move to that end.
Why we wouldn't?
Are you asking me?
No, I was just saying, if you guys want me to do that, we'll definitely implement that. We'll move to that end to have, community members involved.
And if the board's in favor of that, I can certainly work with you on that as well too, as you develop your framework.
Yes, sir. And, I will let you know that, the county that I visited it's a process. It takes a couple of years to get this off the ground, but we're starting it now, restructuring it, and to get the community members involved. I think that's a great suggestion.
Mr. Townsend?
Just as an idea, would that be something you support?
Another question. Excuse me, please.
Ms. Stiff, hold on just a minute, okay? All right,
I didn't hear you.
that's okay.
Go ahead.
Superintendent's advisory committee, that might be a good thing
Place to start.
for them, and that way you don't have to convene a new separate group, just as an idea.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
that's a good idea.
We can
I'm
do
not sure about that idea.
Okay.
That's something to think about. But I have a question
Yeah,
though.
let me get Ms. Stiff back, and then
Sure.
I'll get you.
Yeah, you can let me.
All right, Ms. Stiff, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I heard this will take 2 to 3 years to get it off, get it running, get it acclimated, whatever else you might want to call it. But in the meantime, what are we going to use to help abate the absenteeism? This sounds good on paper, but right now, let's say it's possibly happening. What are we doing right now? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm asking because you guys don't remember, okay? What are we doing right now to abate absenteeism?
We're looking to start actually the first meeting, end of this month or beginning of next month. And what I meant by getting it 2 to 3 years, that means like we have a very systematic process framework in place with stakeholder feedback from community members, school board members, the members that are identified on the sheet. And then we build that, but we're starting to meet. Our first meeting will be later this month or the beginning of November. We'll be sharing data. We'll be starting the process of sharing that data with them on a regular basis. It'll either be bi-weekly or monthly. That we're going to be sharing the chronic absenteeism data to the principals and looking at incentives that they can get into their school to encourage attendance. And then better tracking students that are chronically absent and student watch lists so we can intervene before they become truant or chronically absent, because we know that has a direct impact on their performance.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
So out of the truancy and chronic absenteeism issue, back to that again. Now, did you say that you're de-emphasizing truancy? I didn't quite understand why that was going on, as opposed to just continuing to look at both of them. Are we saying that truancy is not as much of an issue?
No, I'm not saying that. Truancy is Mr. Good. That's something that one is kind of like when they get to truant, you may be going to the court system and so forth. That's a possibility. So that's outside of what my focus is going to be. My focus is on absenteeism and chronically absent students and what the schools can do to try to prevent that. So they're both very important, and we're not letting go of the truant, but Mr. Good hits that up.
Mr. Good?
Well, I had a question. We can finish it. Okay.
I know, Ms. Stiff asked, what are we currently doing for attendance? We are giving out incentives, K through 12. This past Friday, we had snow cone truck in the parking lot, elementary kids, middle school kids, high school kids, all of them received free snow cones. Mrs. Amos goes through and recognizes grade levels who have the best attendance with incentives. The high school, they have about 270, I believe, or 80 students who currently have perfect attendance at the high school, so they try to get that list together for them as far as recognizing them for that. And the only thing to change with truancy is we have to have we call it DART, Division Attendance Review Team. It involves court services, people from FAP, and all this kind of stuff. We just get together and see what we can do prior to them going to court. So if the kids, students, there are some students who are chronically absent, might be for medical reasons or stuff like that. They're still absent, but the kids parents who say they're just not sending kids to school, those are the ones we meet with and see if there's any services that we can provide to the family to address what their issues are. Some of them, we're dealing with two young people now. They were staying with the mom. Then they told us this past week, they haven't had electricity in about a week. So then they moved with grandma, so they haven't been coming to school. So those things you have to take in consideration and try to help those young people as well, so. They're still going to court, but it's a longer process. We will make sure that we're helping the families with those issues that they might be having. We're just involving the court and everybody, you know, from downtown to see if we can just work together. Because sometimes they're serving the same families, dealing with the same families that we're doing. We just want to make sure that we combine our efforts before we make the final decision to take those young people to court.
Yes, ma'am. They reduced the chronic absenteeism rate, you know, especially at the middle school last year, about 50%. So they're doing that through awareness. They're doing it through hard work, calling parents, letting them know, and offering incentives. So.
So on a personal note, we'll give kudos to you and y'all's team. My eldest is not an early riser, but on the days she knows that those incentives and such are coming, which is that 10%, you know, so she's you know, that might be a 6:30 a.m. wake up day. So kudos sincerely, because I think that is making a difference.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely. All right. So just think of like just the division level is more support. We're disappointed.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Takes us to number 14. Calendar. There are the meeting dates. Let me throw in that calendar about the superintendent search. Our first meeting will be the 15th. It's Zoom, and if I understand it, we're gonna be here.
And Zooming with her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Zooming with her, yeah. So, assuming with whoever, more than one or whatever, with VSBA.
Yes.
What time? What time?
4 p.m.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's going to take place here in the conference room?
But yes,
Okay.
yes,
Next week.
That's right.
yes, next week.
Next week.
And she'll go over the process and the guidelines, and we have a manual that we'll have to go through this process. And she also has a draft of future dates, so you can go ahead and get them on your calendar now. Yes, sir.
Do we're getting the manuals?
Yeah, I'll make sure I got one for you. I will, we'll talk about it after I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay.
On the way home. Okay? Yes, sir.
Do you anticipate that it'll be a several-hour meeting?
She's not really good, meeting, long time, I'll say that. I'm not sure how long it would be. I don't think it would be over hour and a half. I don't quote me on that, because I'm just throwing it out there. Hour and a half could be 2 hours, I don't know.
I'll quote you to my wife.
Oh, no, please. But if I find out, when I talk to her this weekend, if I find out how long it will be, I will send you an email. I'll send everybody an email, let you know how long it's going to last, or what she says there. Any questions about that? Yes, Ms. Steph? Was that Ms. Steph?
Lucy, did you say October the 15th?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right.
4 p.m.
Okay.
All right, board members' comments? Ms. Kimber?
Well, I also wanna welcome you, Dr. Cox, we're so glad you're here. Ms. Seals, I wanna just personally thank you for, the years of service you've given us and how wonderful you have been to work with and how you have taken care of us since you have been our clerk, and we're gonna miss you a lot. But I totally wish you all the best in your retirement. Have a wonderful time, it's great.
Thank you.
Here, here.
You guys have been great. I've
Thank
enjoyed
you.
each and every one of you. And I wish there was a way to kind of do both, but no.
We wish you.
Yes. We will miss you.
We will. Yes.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
This is National Principal Appreciation Month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I want to send out a loud shout out to our principals that go the extra mile more than frequently to take care of our students, create an environment conducive to learning, to educate our children in the best form that we expect, and just to be there for all of their needs. Principals are so essential to the day-to-day operation of any school. And I don't believe they get enough recognition for all that they do. So on this day, principals, have a good month. Enjoy every aspect of your job because we are working for and with the best of tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Townsend.
So first, I just want to echo all the sentiments about Ms. Seals. Thank you so much, and enjoy your retirement. Hope to join you one day. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but hope to join you one day. But certainly, you deserve it. So we wish you the best. And stay in touch. And then second, just to speak candidly for just a brief moment. It's been a very rough couple of months in the county. I think a lot of people are aware of that. Just in general, just so folks know, like, I'm a parent, first and foremost. I take very big pride and have very much respect for this position, but I'm always a parent first. So parent comes first for me, as it does for all parents, hopefully. So my agenda is always my kids. And that extends to the kids of Prince Edward County, and that's always going to be the case. And so, believe me when I say I understand how frustrating and confusing and sad it can be when we can't give you absolutely every bit of information at all times, right? I've seen both sides of that. Trust me, I get it. And so my request of whoever is watching out is to please trust the process. Trust the process, and trust me when I say as well that it's difficult to trust the process that you're not involved in. Now, I'm very grateful for the parents and community members who are involved in the process, our volunteers. You know, we've got very active PTO at the elementary and the middle school. We've got PE's kids, we've got the Prince Edward County Schools Foundation, and myriad of other people I'm probably forgetting. And so please be active and be engaged and be involved in those groups. Superintendent's Advisory Committee, because again, it's difficult to trust the process that you're not involved in. And if you have a question, ask. Like, honestly, just come up and ask me. If I can't tell you, just trust that I can't tell you. Ask the school. We've got phenomenal staff. Please ask them if something is happening. It's just the Facebook discourse is not always the best way to solve problems. It does have its place. It is a valuable platform. I use it more regularly, and I've been challenged to speak a bit more. So I'm going to talk a bit more in these meetings and let some of my thoughts be known instead of saving those for more private perspectives. But trust the process. And be involved in the process and understand that, like everybody here in this room, we're working towards a goal of making sure our kids have the best education system possible. And believe me when I say, I've got a first grader in the school now, I've got a pre-K student starting next year, hopefully, and then 3 years later we'll have another one. So I think very, very high priority in the system that I graduated from, that my dad graduated from, and that my 3 kids hopefully graduate from as well. So trust the process, be involved in the process, and please just ask us. I mean, we're elected officials for a reason. Hold us accountable. Please do it.
Thank you. Any other board members?
I'd just like to just quickly, the same sentiments, Ms. Seals, knowing all too well the experience and what goes on behind the scenes of a board clerk. You're to be commended in the short time I've been on the board. So thank you for everything you've done and just all the sentiments and comments that have already been made. So 100% agree.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on here. Correspondence, those are. Correspondence from last month's meeting to people out. I think that's what this is, yes. need to go into closed session, but we do need to vote on personnel.
Are you entertaining a motion?
I am to entertain the
I
motion.
move that we, approve the superintendent's personnel agenda as presented.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And that's it. Before we adjourn, let me just remind you, if you haven't signed up for the annual VSBA conference, it's next month, November, and, you might wanna do that. It's really an interesting conference, and they have a lot of great sessions going on. So that's in November
20th, I think.
20th,
22nd.
Yes.
20th to the 22nd. So,
Always a week before Thanksgiving.
week before Thanksgiving. So just if you haven't, you might wanna talk to Ms. Seals to know she's gonna be at you.
Before Friday.
Before-
That would be today or tomorrow, tomorrow or Friday.
Before-
Everyone has been registered
Okay, good.
and hotel rooms reserved.
And you're gonna get that information to us
And
before
I'm gonna
Friday.
get the information to you
Okay.
on
Perfect.
Friday.
Oh, Friday. Good.
I'm
All right.
here tomorrow,
Perfect.
but
Perfect.
I will send it to you on Friday.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, that would be nice, yes. Anything else? All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right.
Dr. Cox, please do not expect him to all be this short.